What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Dr. Lariat. This is the Gunatic Fringe. This is Kenny Gumega. This is oh man, Magnum Suchio. This is Royal True Orange Cassidy. This is your host. This is Dr. Lariat, and this is the prescription. And I have with me, ladies and gentlemen, two esteemed colleagues of mine, two of the best bombs out there, you know. I call them the Powerbombshells because that's what they call their show. We have with her, because I like giving these silly nicknames, we have Super Samantha. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. And we have, of course, Magical Mel G. How are you?
Ooh, magical. That was appropriate for the Ren Fair society. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having us on.
Oh yeah, I've been having a blast talk to you guys. I'm gonna do a little bit of fourth wall breaking because we've been recording for at least about an hour or so, but I've loved every minute of it because it's fun to get to know people, and you guys, like, seriously, I love talking to people who aren't the norm who watch wrestling. I mean, in the norm in a sense, like when we think about people who watch wrestling, a lot of guys who wear white t-shirts and oh no, not white t-shirts. No, they wear black t-shirts and only eat chicken tenders. So
Are they Dominic Mysterio?
I don't know, maybe.
No, actually, I mean, no more.
But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and talking with me. It humbles me. I feel so honored to have you. Again, thank you to Garrett Gonzalez for making this all possible and inviting me in and have on this show. I've been listening to you guys for the last year or so, and it's good stuff. And I always ask this of everybody when they come in, is like, so how'd you guys get into wrestling?
You want to go first?
Oh yeah. See, we're so good. Like,
You guys are too nice.
you go first.
Okay. Okay.
You lead. You
Oh,
lead.
I'll lead. Okay. How did I first get into wrestling? Well, I watched a little bit when I was a young kid. I remember watching Big Boss Man, and then I got out of it for a really long time. And then one summer when I was about 13, I went to stay with my cousin, who lives in the same city as me, but I spent most of the summer with her, and she watched WCW every week. And so she was like, "You've got to watch this with me." And so I got hooked on WCW and have not stopped watching wrestling since then, and it's now expanded into going to indie shows and that are supporting my local indie promotions. And I never thought I would end up doing podcasting because of it, but here we are.
That's great. I've always introduced my little cousins to wrestling because if I'm gonna watch it, since I'm big cousin, you're gonna watch it.
Right? Yeah.
So I forgot to give one of my favorite AKAs that I usually do, because you said Big Boss Man, right?
Yep.
Big Boss. So like one of my AKAs I like to Yan Yan Bigelow. I like to do Big Scran Vader. But
That's great.
Oh god.
That's so funny.
One of my favorite ones is Big Boss Manong. So Manong in my language, Ilocano, means big brother, right? So
Oh, yeah,
Big Boss
yeah.
Manong is one of my favorite ones to do.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. Passing down pro wrestling through the family is kind of how I got a lot of my family into pro wrestling. Well, also because my older cousins also did the same thing to me, so
Right.
it's what
Well,
it's what happens.
yeah, that's because my sister and I, like, so when I came home that summer, like, I got my sister into it, and like our dad would watch like on and off, and like that's how I watched Big Boss Man and stuff, was because my dad. And then like when we started getting into like WCW and stuff, my dad was by that point, I think we were more into WWE, or WCW was gone at that point, and so my dad was watching some, and like he's comes in and out of it, and he just, like, we kind of keep him up to date with what's happening in wrestling. But my sister, and so that was, yeah, my sister was definitely the one that I brought into it. And so my sister and I watch, like, we go to shows together, and we watch together. So I definitely know wrestling is definitely a family thing. It seems like once you get one family member in, you're gonna get at least there's gonna be at least that one family member or close friend that you watch with.
Yeah. I remember there was one Christmas where everybody got like wrestling shirts for Christmas.
That's awesome.
I was just like, okay, yeah, so I have this Kevin Nash shirt, but I don't really like Kevin Nash. Can I trade you? And then nobody wanted to trade me. So I had to wear a
That's
shirt
so
that
funny
said,
that you say that. I have a Kevin Nash shirt from because at that one point, like WCW, when it was doing really well, like they were selling shirts in Walmart, and so
yeah.
I still have it. It's in the back of my closet. I have a Kevin Nash shirt and I have a Goldberg shirt that I've got at the same time, and they're both in the back of my closet, and I've had them since I was probably in high school.
Oh man, I still have a raggedy new NWO shirt and a raggedy Austin 316 shirt that I refuse to throw away because
I get it.
memories.
Right.
Those were the two shirts. How about you, Mel? How did you get into wrestling?
I mean, I was a kid in the 80s, so wrestling was on the TVs all over. And I had a mom who I would like occasionally watch it. And my mom would, of course, come around and say, I don't want you watching that. It's fake. As opposed to everything else, literally, that's on the television set that she was watching, like Airwolf, which was totally real. So, you know, that's fine.
Jan Michael Vincent.
And as a natural human, that, of course, was like, well, she told me not to do it, so I'm obviously going to do it. And that was much of what I did. And, you know, so I saw some Andre and a Hogan and so forth occasionally, mostly at my grandparents' house when we were staying there because they had TVs in every bedroom kind of deal. So, but eventually I got a little older, and right before I went to college, I had a friend who worked at the pro shop on the golf course that I was groundskeeping on, and he was a huge WWF at the time fan. And he started inviting me over to Monday Night Raw, and I would come with the group and watch it, and kind of half in, half out. Started to realize, oh my God, I mean, it was kind of when The Rock was happening and Austin was happening. So, I mean, I came in at the golden era, and he made me realize that I was a fan. And then I fell away for a period. And then when I moved to Seattle from the East Coast, because I grew up in Southern Maine, got back into it when I met my husband and our roommate and all the people, and we would watch together. We actually went to WrestleMania 19 in Seattle.
Cool.
And I have the shirt because I was working at a live theater at the time. Our PR guy brought me back because he went to the PR stuff. And I was the only person in the live theater. We are so much cooler than you. But he still went to the media event and brought me back the WrestleMania media event extra large T-shirt he was given and made sure to give me that. So I do have one of those.
That's nice.
And we did get to bring when we were for WrestleMania 35 in New York, because my friend came over from Ireland and we were there for the New Japan show, but he had never been to a WrestleMania. We braved the trains and so forth out to, I still call it the Meadowlands because I'm that many years old, but and we went to that one as well.
Come on, you look beautiful. You got very light skin. You got nice skin. You're beautiful. Come on.
I'm just moving it out of the way, but yeah, we but he's the one who introduced me. What was cool about that is that when we visited him in his country in 2016, he took us to an indie show which is the OTT promotion when they were first starting. And that made me remember how much I liked it. But then I became an Evolve fan. I started going to Evolve regularly here in the Detroit area until, the pandemic came along. I saw Progress here. I saw Toni Storm in Progress before, but when she was still the Toni Storm she reverted to back when she was playing one of her roles of herself. It was Tony time for me back when it was actually Tony time at one point. So I just got really lucky. I live in Detroit and the surrounding area. Southeast Michigan is a very wrestling centric area. Dick the Bruiser, the Sheik. I mean, we have the history, so I love it. Half my friends are in the Ren Fair circuit and half my friends are wrestling fans now. So it's just like my t-shirts, I either have video game shirts, retro video game art shirts, or wrestling shirts. that my friend
Hey.
designs, who's also a big nerd like us, and he was a big wrestling fan. So it's
Hey, you know, wrestling fans are a different kind of nerd. It's
Yes.
because like
so
it's one of those nerddoms where you actually can fall back into it really easily, as opposed to like other things that you sort of, if you fall out hard on Star Wars, you can't really go back in.
yep.
But if you fall out of wrestling, you stop watching for a couple years and then you watch something cool that happens, you're like, okay, I'll watch, because
Yep.
like wrestling is sort of like, is cyclical in that way where you can be like, okay,
Yeah.
I feel like watching wrestling. I don't know why, but you know, it's just one of those fandoms, and I love hearing these stories because it lets me know like where you were and how you got into it. I love I love these kind of stories. And, you know, other stories I like that I really like are meet cutes. So how did you guys meet?
Well, thankfully, Garrett Gonzalez is very good at arranging meet cutes and
He
figuring
sure
out who's
is.
in these meet cutes because I was writing. I was doing a little bit of writing for Fight Game Media because I write for a couple of other websites. I was looking for somewhere new, and JD Oliva, um, who is now at I just were there. He's at
I just blanked it too, and keep going,
well,
and
I
I'll
don't know.
think of
I'm
it.
sorry, JD.
Voices of
But
Wrestling.
yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
Voices of Wrestling.
Go to the
I'm
Mike and
That's right.
JD
I
show
forget we're supposed
Patreon.
to be mortal enemies with all these people, so
right,
we forget
exactly.
their
That's why I
names.
can't. That's the real reason I didn't remember. I had
Right,
blanked on the
that's it.
name because I didn't want to say it.
Because we're all in the fantasy world on the internet. We're all mortal enemies with each
Yes.
other.
So JD and I wrote together at Fansided, and he, our editor left, and he left when she did, and I stayed on for a bit before going over to Daily DDT. But anyway, so I knew that's where he was writing, and so I asked them, you know, are they looking for new writers? And he was like, send me something. I don't even remember what I sent him. He sent it to Garrett. He was like, Garrett's really into it. So I did some, and I talked to Garrett, and he was like, I was just doing writing, and he's like, do you have any interest in doing a podcast? And I was like, no, I don't. I'm a
Smart.
writer. Like that's what I'm good at. I have a degree in it. Like that's my medium is writing. And then I was like, no, I'm not really looking into podcasting. And I think maybe about 3 months later, he was like, I have this idea for a podcast that's went from a woman's perspective, and I think I think I would have you and another woman. Would you be interested in it? And I was like, mate, I guess, like maybe. And then he was like, okay, cool. I have this woman I want you to meet, and I think Mel and I like hopped on a call with Garrett, and it came together like really quickly, and we have actually never met in person, even though we've been podcasting now for close. We're not too far off from 200 episodes. Like we'll be there.
Wow.
And our
By early next year, we'll be into, knock on wood, depending on what happens. we'll be heading into 200 episodes next year, and it's just So Garrett, thank you for that, because he's the one that brought Mel and I together.
I was random because I'd been talking to Garrett for a long time because I just appreciated his interview style more than just about anybody that was out there, especially on Observer Radio, because he's brilliant with Dave on keeping him on track and getting the good skinny out of him. And those are, the podcast I got to just basically, that's the one I listen to or watch if I'm paying attention at that time. And we chatted online so many times because Garrett is just a solid person. And when he was doing I think it was We're Live, Pal, he was like, I'm just looking for creators. If you're interested, just reach out to me. And I was like, in between podcasts, and podcasting has been an outlet for me because I did become disabled in 2013, and I am an active person. I needed something to do, and my cousin introduced me to podcasting, and I was on a few shows, and I was like, shoot, I haven't done it in a long time, and I would really like to. And so I did reach out to him, and he kind of same thing. I have this gal, and I remember our meeting because I was a little concerned because I checked out Sam's socials, and she's one of those women that times matches. I wanted to make sure. I remember in our meeting because I was like, this isn't going to be like one of these like we hate men, like that kind of things. And she was like, hell no. And so as soon as we were on that same page, I mean, really, it was about like when it became about just like we're two gals that are going to do a podcast about the wrestling we like. And I think, as I mentioned before, one day I said to Sam after, I don't know, 20 or 30 podcasts, did you notice that our podcast has naturally formed a format?
Yeah. It did, like the first couple, it was funny because like the first couple of episodes, like Garrett like held our hands through it and was
bit.
like, he asked us topics like that, and he would ask us a question, and like he kind of was our host to kind of get us I think maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes it was Garrett, and then he was like, all right, Trina wheels are off, figure it out.
Mel knows how to use StreamYard, here you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how about it, figure it out. And I guess it's worked out because he hasn't pulled us off the air yet, so.
No, and we keep having a lot of fun, and people keep, like, much like yourself, you guys keep reaching out to us and you keep talking to us, and it's a lot of fun. I love our little Powerbombshells crew. We have some special, fun, awesome folks.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. It's a great group of people. I've been like lurking in your chats for a while, not really typing anything until recently, because then I got kind of comfortable because I reached out to Mel and like, sweetheart, you're a sweetheart. My God, it's so great when you go into when you find like a new community and you interact with people and they ended up just being exactly how you thought they would be. So the fact that both of you are so nice, I like that.
You.
Not like I ran into mean people, but I have ran into really dismissive people who kind of just like when they do your show, they're like they could be doing anything else, which cool, but like why would you waste your time?
Right.
And like when you guys said yes, I was so happy because what I like to do on this show. People can look at my whole library of stuff. Is I love to make sure that the world of wrestling and the fandom of wrestling knows how diverse, how different, and how big the wrestling fandom is, because a lot of the time when we think about the tastemakers, it's usually a cis-het white man, and their opinion is taken like, no offense to you, Dave, no offense at all, but like it's not what you are, it's like what it represents and the sort of power dynamic there is.
Sure.
That like when we look at things like Barstool Sports, and those are the guys who get like a TV show on Fox Sports, and they end up like sort of like cramming the airwaves, them or Pat McAfee, with like their opinion being meaning so much because they have this platform.
Right.
And something that Gerta told me is, I have a microphone, you have a microphone, we're peers. And that's sort of like, that makes you feel good, because at the end of the day, we're just people on a microphone talking to each other, and that's all there is. And to be able to express like these feelings and emotions, it's okay to feel feelings, people. So like be able to talk to other people that come from marginalized populations, whether that be sexuality, race, or gender. I always find it great to talk with these people on the margins and give them sort of a space where we feel like we can talk how we want to talk. And that's what you guys do on your show. You have a space, and you guys are just so good. It's natural. And I just when I hear shows like yours and I see people like you do it, it sort of makes me feel like, all right, if they can do it, I can do it, because I always wanted to hear more Asian American voices in this space.
Sure.
And I'm going to shout out, of course, again to Mr. Garrett Gonzalez. I'm going to give a shout out to Wei Ting, WH Park, my friend at Virtual Pros, Al. You guys have been the 4 guys who have been an inspiration to me, and I know like Wei called me one of the 4 pillars of the Asian American wrestling podcasting.
Right.
Like getting that from Wei, some man who I've been he's like the man for me because like he's the first like Asian face I saw doing this in pro wrestling, and to it come from Wei, someone who I find to be successful, someone who I look up to, someone who I respect, and to also get like that conversation with Garrett, it really feels sort of self affirming that when I do
Yeah.
these podcasts with say here with the Power Bombshells here, or my friends off Waffly Bollocks, love you guys. Also, I'm gonna shout out these other people, Kick Out 2.99, all of you. Like you're doing something in this space that hasn't been done, and you guys are using your voices to speak your truths, to tell about your emotions and how you feel and your judgments in pro wrestling. And oftentimes I feel like when we hear it come from one source and they have these sort of like opinions on it, like especially when it comes to women's wrestling, it just, I get a little bit of the ick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I get, when you talk about a lot of the representation that comes from it, like from generally people who look the same. And that's one of the things, like, I remember watching, like, the first season of Dark Side. Like, I love Dark Side of the Ring, but I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't wait till we get to a point where these historians don't all look the same. Like, where, where we have women wrestling historians on here, where we have people of color who are on here telling, talking about the things that they know, that it's not just,
yeah,
and that's not saying that these people aren't deserving of that spot, but like, it's just the same. Like, I would like to hear this story. And I know, especially in that, a lot of it was gate kept for a really long time. So these
yeah,
are the voices that you have to listen to when it comes to things that were happening in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. And so they are, for better or worse, they are the voices of authority for those things. But now we're getting to this point where hopefully, like, if even if it's not Dark Side of the Ring, but if it's a show, you know 10 or 15 years from now, that's like, maybe it's looking back on the first 15 years of AEW wrestling or something like that, then hopefully you will have a diverse amount of voices that are telling the
yeah,
history of this stuff, because it has always been, for a really long time, it was gate kept by white men. And
yeah,
like you said, cisgender white men.
yeah,
And so I hope that's one of the things that I hope that eventually we get to a point where, like, we start seeing historians or people who we voices of, even not necessarily historians, but people who talk about wrestling, who come from a wide variety of backgrounds. That obviously we all consume wrestling a lot of times, we all consume it differently, or we all see it through different lenses, or because there are there's generally, when it comes to wrestling, it's stories. The people who are booking their shows are generally also cisgender white men who tell stories a certain way that
yeah,
Boy,
that is not,
howdy.
and of course, for especially on TV for a good chunk of time, that's who told those stories. And so that's the wrestling that we consumed. And so now when you have, like, wrestling, in one situation, like, Ashe Wrestling, which is a local to me, it is told from the point of view of a black man and black talent, and it's showing all these different, that they don't have to be stereotypes, they can be all of these things, and they're
yeah,
getting this platform to tell their stories. And that's something that is so needed in both, behind the camera and in front of the camera, and on these podcasts, and writing about it. Because there's so many different stories to tell and so many different lenses to view wrestling through.
yeah. I did Wrestling Observer News Hall of Fame 2025 overview. I know I'm gonna plug my show in the middle of the show, but I did that, right. I did that with my friend
Yeah.
Arturo, and like when I was looking over it, we had a big focus on lucha libre. That's
Mm-hmm.
our favorite style because he's Puerto Rican. I'm from LA, so lucha libre out here in Southern California. It's pretty much
Yeah.
that's what you go to on the weekends. You go to the
Of
swap
course.
meet.
That's awesome.
You go to a swap meet and you're just at a lucha libre show without even trying to
You
be
love
one.
that.
And so
That happens around here sometimes. It's great. I
yeah,
love it.
and when I was listening back to the show, like, and like I'm thinking of the names that we talked about that sort of were when you listen to some people's like audio, they don't really go through it. So I was listening to it, and we talked about June Byers. She
Hmm.
had that movie, with Tony Storm
Right.
is in it, but like she was one of the architects of women's pro wrestling. It was June Byers, Mildred Burke, and depending on how you feel about her in Fabulous Moolah. And I think what I when I listened back to it, we went over these guys, right? We went over the choice to bring JYD in, about how he was one of the first top black African American wrestlers that had about
Mhm.
10 big dome shows. We talked about Doral Dixon, a Jamaican
Mhm.
American. He made his way up in America, main evented everywhere, even Madison Square Garden, and then made a career for himself also in Mexico in Lucha Libre, where now he's a preacher in and he's still living. And then like when I go into like a guy like Gran Hamada, who was sort of like shunted out of Japan because he was too
Awesome.
small, and made a life for himself in Mexico. Met
Mhm.
his wife in Mexico. His children are both born in Mexico, and they have Mexican citizenship and Japanese before the Japanese citizenship, and it's
Mhm.
when we
And
tell these
arguably
stories.
the pipeline between New Japan, like the Japanese
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Mexican wrestlers, if you ask
Right.
my opinion.
yeah,
just to,
because
just to throw, because that, I mean, that's not said enough. And John Muse and I are on the same boat on him
yeah,
being in the Hall of Fame, because
he is.
that dude was I mean, the reason that you have Japanese to like Mexican and Latino wrestling, and I mean, South America at all, Central America, it's Grand
Yeah,
Hamada. Like, he did it.
Yeah.
He's the
yeah,
one. Like, when you
Gr-
read that story, I don't know what else you say after, especially after Dave's bio on that was good.
yeah,
And
because
it's like, dude, this
oh
is the
man,
reason. This is the
Yeah.
reason
right?
Okada could run away
Yeah,
to
to
Mexico
Mexico.
when he was
Just thinking about
13.
Okada running away to
That's
Mexico
the
as a
reason, though.
teenager.
That's the
Right.
reason. That
Yes.
is
Yeah,
like that groundwork was laid by someone like Grand Hamada.
yeah,
Like, just
because
bottom line.
yeah, you don't have Ultimo Dragon, because Jushin Liger
Yep.
was kicked out of the dojo
Yeah.
until, and he had to learn under Gran Hamada, and then they picked him back up. They kicked out
And
Gran
put a
Hamada because
mask
they said he
on.
was too small.
Yep.
They said no to Ultimo Dragon. They said no to Great Sasuke. They said no to Jado and Gedo. They said no to Hayabusa. And you know where all those guys went? They went to Mexico to
Mhm.
learn
Yep.
wrestling. And what did they do when they came back from Mexico? They were the biggest stars in the 90s. And
Yeah.
Jado and Gedo booked New Japan. So
Right.
who has the last laugh now? It's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
like, so like, to go back like on why me and Arturo, like, we're two brown men. We both have Spanish surnames because he's Puerto Rican, I'm Filipino. And we had JML on there. I'm not sure if he's a man of color. He did sound like it, but I don't want to say he is because I don't know, and he's very private, so I don't want to tell anything about it like that. So we did this series, and when we were talking about guys like Sabu, guys like Gran Hamada, guys like you know, guys like Doral Dixon, and it just, you sort of like get a feeling of, wow, look at how much these guys accomplished. And then you think about like the guys who are older now that were there and lived through it. Like, I think the only guys we have left are Dave and Fumi Saito, who
Pretty
actually were
much.
there, and like
Yeah,
they were the
just
ones that
about.
actually talked to all these guys. And
Yeah.
there's like nobody after them that really, without Fumi, there's like not really a Japanese historian that
Yeah.
speaks English, and that's kind of
Right.
like, that's that's sad and a little bit scary because there's so much of that history, because he's also tied into like what we were talking about earlier, the lucha libre, Japanese wrestling connection. Like, he's part of that. And
Yeah.
Fumi like was friends with Terry Funk, and he went to school in, I think he went to school in like he's a Golden Gopher, so he went to school in Minnesota, like Ric
He
Flair
did. He
and
actually
Shelton
lived here in the
Benjamin.
States for a chunk of
Like,
time, a
since
couple
I think he
different
was
times. That's
since
why
high
he
school or
has
something.
he likes the American versions of all the candy bars and
Yeah,
candy.
yeah.
he got a he
Fumi,
got a feel for the chemicals up here in North America when he was living here. And
yeah. The American GMOs
Jim
just hit
Valley
different.
told me that's the
Yeah.
secret to his heart. If you ever go visit him, just bring him the American chocolate bars because he likes
Oh
them.
man, it's Halloween, so I'm gonna have so many left over.
There.
There you go. So
Yeah.
you get your trip to Japan. That's that's the way to Fumi Saito's heart. And I love Fumi too, because to his great credit, he is trying to teach anybody that will. If you want to talk to Fumi about history, I have a good, like I said, my friend who is over in Ireland. He has reached out many times to Fumi, and Fumi will have long.
Oh man,
He's so, what a nice dude to
I
be. He's like, if you're interested, I'll talk to you all day.
I
It's
would love
amazing.
that. I would love to do
He's a
that.
great person. He's Boomies. Yeah, that's when you say that. Actually, that brings that home a little hard, and
Yeah,
that's
because
it's. And I've been like, just as a personal sort of situation, is I've been reading a lot of histories of like the United States and North America, but
yeah,
through different points of views. So like the disability history, the indigenous history is one that
yeah,
I've been reading. A lot of histories of America through points of views that aren't mine,
Right.
because I really think now more than ever, it's important to really kind of look around because there's so many of us that do really go, this isn't the way that this country should be working,
yeah,
or not working, as it
yeah,
were. And it's we need it because it's who we are. We have changed. Women are into sports and wrestling, including wrestling. You do need to make girl-sized stuff and girl-themed stuff. The NFL figured it out first, but they started making girl shirts. They started making girl hoodies. They stopped. We didn't want to wear our boyfriend's jersey anymore, and that, as like, I was a young athlete. I was a female athlete in the 90s when women's sports were on the uptick. And I'll tell you this is that my varsity soccer team, the women's team, on a Friday night in my town was a bigger draw than the football team by about 1,000%. And that's a
hey,
women's soccer game in 1997.
hey,
The whole
that's
town would turn
that's
out for an under the lights game, and
hey,
it's a women's game.
hey, we're talking, Mel G over here is as big as a draw as like Rhea Ripley, as big as a draw
I mean,
as Saya
it was
Kamatani.
it's I'm not quite there. But I mean, I think that the move for women's sports and women in sporting and our voices in sports, whether it's Julie Foudy behind a microphone or Renee Young or someone along those lines. Renee, I look up to Renee a great deal.
She's great.
She
Wonderful.
and people don't even realize that she's also on broadcast radio as well, and her husband is very fun about her. He's like, she could do anything she wanted and she chooses these things. But in terms of broadcasting, and where I think that like somebody who could be a historian, Renee is exactly the kind of person that her influence alone on the backstage crew and the interviewing staff and the time she's been there has
Yeah,
been palpable.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
and it's helped the other women that are doing those interviews
Yeah.
have
Oh.
become better interviewers and better backstage talent for her mere presence. And I'm sure she helps them in the back
Yeah.
from the way
yeah,
she's come off on her podcast.
For
yeah.
sure.
I mean,
She's so great. She's been great. I remember because sometimes I visit my cousins in Alberta. Shout out to you, my Canadian cousins. Yeah, so sometimes we'd go and watch the hockey tonight, and she'd be the host of that stuff, and she's very good at that. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's just a Canadian Larry coming out.
no worries, no worries. I live so close. Detroit is north of Windsor, technically. So that's the that's the big trivia about we are actually, if you go south of Detroit to the southwest, you are actually in Canada. So.
Wow. Oh man, that's funny. I have because like so to speak to women's voices in sports, right? I remember when I was a little kid, I used to play this game called WrestleFest, and the announcer in there was Mike McGurk. It was the lady WWF announcer. She used to wear a red coat, like what people like a ring, like a circus or like
Oh
the
yeah, like the
equestrian people would
ringmaster.
wear. She'd wear like a red jacket and she had riding boots, and like it took forever until to see like Lillian Garcia, and then
Yeah.
Renee Paquette. She like if there's anybody I could compare it to, the perfect guy is there. Tony Schiavone,
Yeah.
like an absolute love for what she's doing, an absolute passion for what she's doing. No matter what kind of sport she's talking about, she's always super enthusiastic and super knowledgeable. And as far as what I think about commentators and people who could talk about this, you guys are so knowledgeable about pro wrestling,
Thank
and that's what I enjoy about you guys. And not to throw shade on other people, but like the fact that you guys are like sickos for this, that rules. It rules
It's
for me
true.
because like, game recognized game. So like
Right.
when I hear people talk about about their wrestling fandom or where they come from, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a real one. This is part of the tribe. We this is gonna be my friend, and that's
Right.
what I hear when I hear you guys do your show. The last show I heard was with you and Kayla of the rap. Listen to the
Hmm.
rap also. Kayla and is it Scott? Scott are
Yes,
good. They're good.
Salty Scott.
Yes,
They're
they
good,
are.
and
Love them.
you guys, everyone at Fight Game Media, you guys are just so good. There's just
Thank
a
you.
concentration of talent there that like maybe one day. But I just absolutely adore your guys' show,
Thank
and I
you.
believe in that there should be female voices who talk about wrestling, right? And I know this is coming out later because it's not coming out like this week, but like there was something that happened on this Dynamite, right?
Hmm.
And it was sort of like the women were sort of treated like an afterthought
Hmm.
because Jamie Hayter said blood and guts a month ago,
Hmm.
and there's been no update on it.
Hmm.
And then they announced the men's blood and guts,
Hmm.
and so the women have just felt sort of marginalized and kept to the side, even though so it made all those tag team matches, those big brawls, those that stampede the match that they had, it sort of makes it like, why are we doing this if you're not giving the women the sort of like spotlight that they
Right.
deserve? And they called blood and guts first, but we're not building.
Right.
It's just it's stupid. And I'm a man saying this, and I'd rather get the women's point of view because I feel like a lot of the times the women in wrestling, especially like now in WWE compared to where they were, 6 years ago and where
Hmm.
they are now, and it's never really happened in AEW where they've been the focal point of the show.
Right.
It just feels like a disrespect. And today I watched the match with my friend Arturo and Matt. We were doing commentary for a match of Combat Toyota versus Megumi Kudo, and they were the reason they drew 33,000 people to Kawasaki
That's
Dome
right.
in Japan,
Yep.
and that's in FMW. That's like 30 years ago.
Yep.
Why are we not there? Why are we not where we were like 5 years ago, where Mercedes and Bianca were the main event in WrestleMania? Why are we not there anymore? Where are we in wrestling? Like, why are we in the part where the Hollywood ending is not the real ending of the pay per view?
Right. And first, I want to say that it is important for male voices to also be saying these things about women's wrestling because
Yeah,
then it doesn't, because when women say it, they're like, oh, it's just women, but they're just mad because because a man is getting attention like that. So it is important that men are also speaking up about this. I mean, and definitely obviously women do need to give their perspective, but I do
yeah,
think it's also just as important for men to be saying, hey, this isn't right. Like, I enjoy women's wrestling, or I think that why do you have Mercedes Moné, who has main evented everywhere except for, she obviously not New Japan in Japan, but she's for her own company that she's with. She's
yeah,
never main evented. She's main evented WrestleMania, and she's never main evented in AEW. Like, that's an insane thing to think. So it is really helpful to have men also weighing in on that fact to say
yeah.
like, hey, like, I want to see this too. Um,
I absolutely do. I'm sorry to cut in.
no,
I'm
go
so
ahead, go.
sorry. Like
No, no.
because like obviously, like New Japan thought so much of Mercedes Monet that they had her main event every show they had in America
Yep.
when they could use her. They
Right.
used her 3 times. They used her 2 times in San Jose. They used her 2 times in LA for Long Beach,
Yes.
and then they used her in match and she drew.
Yes.
She drew, and they knew
She
that she
drew in
could.
Arena Mexico just 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, she drew in Arena Mexico with Persephone.
Right.
Persephone, Mexican American from El Paso. If you're gonna keep an eye on someone, I think
Yes,
Tony
And
Khan
she's
a
definitely
hundred
great.
has his eye.
percent. I am a huge. I've only seen a few matches of hers. I mean, obviously, she's been on ROH some too, because I'm one of the 12 people who actually watches
Right.
ROH. And so I've seen her there, and she is definitely one to keep your eye on in women's wrestling because
Yeah,
she's got it. She's
yeah,
so good already.
yeah. Tony, she doesn't need a work visa. She's actually American, so
Right.
you can book her
See?
here.
Oh
There you
dear
go.
God.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm like, and they're
But
bringing
don't,
in
please don't yet.
and they're
Please
bringing
don't
in
yet.
Olympia.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man,
and
it's
she's
great that we're seeing all these different bodies also in wrestling. It's
yeah,
so great.
right. It is. Yeah, and Olympia I saw a couple of times, and they brought her in to ROH because they that pure title that the pure women's tournament that they're sort of doing.
It was
Olympia is
announced in April. It started in August. It is
they've
still in
had
the first round.
right. They've had two matches. Olympia is in that tournament, so they brought her in to have a match to kind of introduce her to fans, which I was not familiar with her, so I was glad to get that. And then she got the match with Billy Starks, which was the tournament match. And then I thought I really liked her, and then I watched the show in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, the all women's show, and she was
Yeah.
on it. And so I was happy to see her challenge Mercedes because I was like, oh, that'll be a good one. So we're getting that, well, by the time this airs, it will have already aired, but the match is coming up, which I'm really looking forward to because so I really love this relationship with CMLL where you get to see like all this
Yeah.
different talent come through. And like I really enjoy Lucha Libre wrestling. I was into like the cruiserweights and WCW. Like I loved that
Yeah.
stuff. And so
Mine
to
too.
be able to have like to know who these people are and to get to see them wrestle and not just hear their names. Like now I can see them
Yeah.
wrestle and to see that the women and what they're doing in Mexico, which brings it obviously back to what we were talking about with women. And it's really AEW for most of its existence, women's wrestling has been the one thing that they have struggled greatly with. I mean, they've struggled with a lot of things, but women's wrestling has always been their Achilles heel. Like they just have not been able to build it, and it just feels for a long time. It just felt like women's wrestling didn't matter. It was a checklist. It's just like, ooh, here I'm going through the card. Oh wait, we don't have a women's match. Let's throw one on there. Like it very much felt like that for a while, and then it started like it would start and stop. Like we'd get like, at the beginning with the Outcasts, when that first was starting, it was really exciting, and then they just kind of it didn't really pan out the way that it felt like it would. And so then when Mercedes came along, it felt like, okay, finally, like Mercedes is gonna make sure like
Yeah.
that this division is worthy of her being here, and she's gonna bring, not that these women weren't already good, but she clearly was bringing them up to another level. And we finally started to see that. And then we get this flurry of announcements where we're going to get an ROH women's pure champion. We're going to have women's tag team titles. We're going to have a women's blood and guts. And it all got thrown at us at once. And I always say when things are going well in the women's division, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
And things like last night are why, because they will start going in the right direction. And then for whatever reason, like, I don't know if Tony just can't commit to women, or I don't know, or if there's people in his ear that are telling him, hey, women aren't a draw, women can't do, like, I don't know what the disconnect is. And he, as he says, like, he is the booker, all decisions come through him, so all the positive things you have to say go through Tony, so all the negative things are also against Tony as well. Tony has the final say, so he has the final say in doing the things that he did, especially last night, and coming with the, like, and people are like, oh well, it's low ticket sales. Well, you also book this show 2 weeks before a major holiday. It's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. You said you had Jamie Hayter say, make the challenge, and she, as the Triangle of Madness, have been dodging her. Her and Queen Aminata have like jumped them backstage a few times, and nothing that they're doing is making Triangle of Madness be like, you know what, let's settle this in a cage. Like, and so they've done hardly anything with it. You can't sell tickets without, like, how are you supposed to sell tickets with no matches announced? And this is supposed to be a historic match for the women, and you're treating it like they're treating it like it's another Dynamite. They're treating it like it's a checklist, like, oh, let's make the fans happy, we'll announce a women's blood and guts, and then they think that that's it. Like, okay, we announced that we're going to do it. That's all the work we have to do.
Well, and I think a little worse right here, because the conversation that we were having last night is this blood and guts thing going to be where it's the men's on Wednesday and the Collision?
No, I don't. Collision is live that Saturday.
Okay.
And so Dynamite, because I saw that conversation too. Dynamite is that night.
I would have asked you, obviously.
Yeah, the Dynamite. I bought tickets. I bought tickets for the
Yeah,
show.
Sam's supposed to be. This is like made me even madder.
Just because this is a women's main event and it's an hour and a half for me. I bought tickets on the entire premise that I was getting a women's blood and guts match. And now you're telling me that there's also a men's match, and I know all 10 participants in this match. I've had a build towards this match where with the women I have not gotten that, and even like I was wondering like, hey, with the women's tournament going on, like the tag team tournament, are we going to get like a blood and guts match and a tournament match? And now it's like, are we getting? Is this just a women's blood and guts and a men's blood and guts? So if you're doing that, do the women even get to main event their first blood and guts match?
Oh
like,
gosh.
are we are we even? I'm so disappointed in the way that this has turned out. But then on the other hand, I'm not surprised because this is how the last 6 years of being an AEW women's wrestling fan has been.
Yeah.
We get all of these things and then they can't follow through for whatever reason. And I get it, Tony Khan's a busy man. But at some point, you're going to have to start delegating things or having somebody who gives a damn about women's wrestling in a way that he doesn't to like follow through. And it's super frustrating to finally, like, this is obviously a conversation we've had a lot on our shows. We're in year 6 and women have never main evented an AEW pay-per-view.
When they could have so many times.
Right.
Like when I think about Tony versus Mercedes, that could have been a main event. Tony
Mercedes versus Athena could have that could have been, or Tony versus Athena could have been a main event. And Athena has main evented in ROH 3 times. She was the first woman to ever. Not only is she the first woman to ever main event, she was the first black woman to ever main event. Her and Willow were the first 2 black women to ever main event an ROH.
It was a sellout. It was a sellout.
Right.
I'm like, there's these women here that we speak of as fans. We speak about Willow, we speak about Mercedes, Athena, Tony. I'll even throw in, because I love her, Riho. Actually looks just like my sister-in-law. It's pretty funny how much she looks like my sister-in-law, to the point where one of my nieces are like, "Why is Auntie wrestling on the TV when you turn it on?"
That's great.
I was like, "Oh, okay." But it's honestly, it's a little confusing why you would announce a tournament before Blood and Guts, and if you're gonna do a tournament, why would you stretch it out over weeks? Just make it a one night, make it a special. You had a 3-hour Dynamite that you could have done it on, and but like now we're sort of diluting it. And I remember when the first women's War Games happened in WWE, right? Mm-hmm. I think they were given pretty much an even amount of time with the men because it was NXT. Mm-hmm.
They were.
And and then nowadays in present times, we still look at those women's War Games as sometimes surpassing what the men will do, because they'll do. Because you see what Io does when she puts a trash can on.
I was about to say, Io's dives in those matches. So
and like you just, the way that they're presented in the different companies for whatever War Games, it doesn't feel like tacked on. It feels like earned because they build it. Usually, I'm not sure if they're doing it this year, but like usually it's built. And for Blood and Guts to be announced last month by Jamie and Amanada screaming and saying, "Hey, we're gonna take you on in Blood and Guts," and them doing all these matches with all these different combinations of women, and then you announce the tag title tournament, and then people say, "Oh, the tag title tournament will be used to build the women's Blood and Guts." I'm like, why? What was the point of the last 3 months then? Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, and because when we had those multi-women matches, like part of us, we were like, yes, they're clearly testing out tag teams and they're getting stories together, because like once that's been our whole thing. Like if you're gonna have tag titles, you have to have contenders. Like you have to build these contenders up. But then it also felt like, we're getting a Blood and Guts because with these 10 women who have been going at it for months, and now you can't even. And like I don't understand the point of doing the tournament and Blood and Guts. Like they should have done Blood and Guts and then announced the tournament. Or at this rate, I know that it feels like they're trying to cram everything in before the C2. I would have been fine waiting for the women's tag team tournament to start next year in like January or February to give them time to build up Blood and Guts, to let that happen. Then you start building up, keep building your tag teams. You have the C2, and then in the new year, you can switch your focus to the women's tag team titles. I don't think it needed to be rushed like this. And now we're seeing that. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's so many. I saw somebody made the comment last night or earlier today, and I feel the same way. It's like the way Orange Cassidy announced the Blood and Guts match is how a lot of fans felt when we realized we were getting a men's Blood and Guts as well. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like that. It just really let the wind out of myself. I'm still looking forward to the show, and I know, like, it's never on the wrestlers. Like, the wrestlers are always going to deliver, and I know
they do
that they
what
will.
their
And I
bosses tell
know.
them.
Yep. I know that even the men's Blood and Guts, like, I know that match is going to be great, and I'm going to love it, and I'm going to be excited that I'm there, but it's everything else around it, and that's not, and it's so unfair to the women. You build them up, and these women want this match. Like, they've been asking for it. They've been having street fights. They've been having these hardcore matches. They want this stuff. They want to be given these same opportunities, and then you give it to them, but then you're like, oh, well, it feels like, because some people say, you know, maybe it's ticket sales, which it could be, but it feels like the men's match was planned all along because of the way it's played out and the way it's been built up, is that they were always planning to announce this men's match, and the women were never going to get their own match on their own show, at least not this year, which is really unfortunate, because I don't see how you're a woman, it could probably going to be in that match and look at it to feel like my boss doesn't trust me to carry this match. He feels like that the men have to be there to pad us and to make sure that way if we fall on our faces, then the men can come behind and clean it up. And so I don't see how, I can't imagine, maybe they don't see it that way at all, but it just feels like, how do you as a woman in that locker room be like, my boss doesn't trust me enough to carry a show. He doesn't trust me to carry a historic match like this. And they're not even building it up like the historic match that it is.
Yeah. Because, I mean, didn't the men have a cage match over Forbidden Door?
Yeah,
didn't they have their own spot already? So why are we doing this again?
Right. Because Tony, I guess.
And, you know, it is interesting, too, because I think some of the harshest critics for people, like, on our thread last night were, like, Jeremy Feinstein, who...
Great guy.
From speaking of Strong Style, and he very much, like you said, Sam, is this like start and stop with the women's division and how that's not on the talent. And he was decrying Tony Khan's just lacking in just his utter, like, I mean, he practically called him negligent in the way that he's handled the women's division and this whole situation. And he was, I mean, you know, a lot of our people that support us, I mean, because I got tweeted at last night immediately by a few of our friends, where it was like, yo, what? And I mean, even some of the people who are like, well, the ticket sales argument, maybe a couple years ago, but I've been in the building now with Dynamite in a collision with the women. They are over. My local promotion has had multiple women's main events that are selling out, that are former WWE talent and such. It's happening, whether Tony realizes it or not. It's out there. Like, we want to, it's not just us ladies screaming, let's see ladies, because there were as many, if not more, disappointed men in our thread last night in the Discord as there were us ladies who, again, I think Lady B and I were discussing it, as both of us were sadly unsurprised.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that made me madder than anything.
I was just about to say, I think that's why I was literally just, because I knew what was coming when they had the microphones. I was like, oh my God, they're getting ready to announce it. And then I was like, and of course you have Orange do it, because nobody's going to be mad at Orange Cassidy for announcing.
Yeah, that's strategic.
And so it just, I think it was just, it's just the audacity
It's
of
pretty
like
deflating, and
it is
especially, I
really
mean, you got
deflating.
our champions walking around saying women's and men's titles. Like even he's having the wherewithal to say there's a difference. These ladies are over here killing themselves.
Right. If you want that women's division to be equal, and like this women's division is so
They're
good. Like you
good.
have so much talent. It is a tragedy to really to
Oh,
just do
yeah.
like you can't waste this talent. Like this talent is good, and if you don't want them going to the other your rival, then you need to book them so that they don't want to go to the other place.
It just
And
happened.
Yeah.
Let's be
right,
real.
you just lost one of your biggest stars that you've had. I mean, granted, she, that was her dream job, and I don't, I get it. I totally get where she's coming from. But like, if you don't want if you don't want women, if you want Mercedes Monet to re-sign a deal with you, then you need to make. It's not just her, and that's one of the things. Like Mercedes has been. She came into this company saying, I'm going to change women's wrestling and I'm going to change it globally. And she has done that. Like, we're seeing longer women's matches on AEW television. We're seeing like all of these things. Mercedes is going around and defending these titles all over the place.
She's
And so
promoting all these great
and
indies.
so she is she's elevating other women along with her. She's not saying, oh, I'm this huge star who's main evented WrestleMania. You're not as good as me. She's built, like, she had people wanting Harley Cameron to to defeat her, and like they have, like, she's bringing these other women up to the level that they can be at. And so and you can't just book Mercedes that way. Like, you have to build up the rest of the division. You have your Willow Nightingales, you've got Chris Statlander, you've got Jamie Hayter, you've got Queen Aminata, you have Triangle of Madness, you have all these really incredible women. I mean, you've got even Riho. Like, we don't even have like Riho and Shida and Yuka Sakazaki are not on TV, and they are three women that should be the
They're in
centerpiece of your
catering.
women. Right, they should be the center of your division. Like, they've got their, like, I know there were visa issues. They don't have those now. Like, how are we not utilizing these women? But you're giving like FTR's got another tag team title shot.
Oh my God.
Oh, how many
Like,
times? How many times do we got to see the Young Bucks and the FTR on TV? I mean, I
Right.
love the Young Bucks.
That match.
You know, my hometown heroes, fellow
Yeah, I
Rancho
love the
Cucamonga.
huge
Well, they're
Young
doing
Bucks
great,
fan.
but we don't need to see this match again. We just
Yeah.
did this match.
Yeah.
Right, and well, and they're even running back, and I get it because of the heel turn, but like, we're already running back Samoa Joe and Hangman Page. Like, we just got that match a few weeks ago. They teased doing Mark Briscoe versus Kyle Fletcher again, and luckily Don Callis was like, no, but like, they even teased that, and I'm like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's the point of this? Yeah, I talked to my friend. Her episode came out this week. You know what? You guys are gonna be on Friday. This is too good to hold on to. I gotta put you guys on Friday. So
Well,
like,
thank
it's
you.
like, my friend Elaine, right? We were talking on the show, and she's like, when it comes to AEW, there's sort of a disappointment there, and I feel like a lot of AEW fans are disappointed with AEW. Not that like the wrestling is bad or anything like that, but like, it's not living up to what these expectations are, of where like they set us up to be like, okay, women are gonna mean this much, okay, tag teams are gonna be this much, the trios, oh, they're gonna be important, don't worry about the trios. And
Right.
then, like, what happens? Yeah, like, for half a year, okay, people said Okada was dogging it, right? But Okada was not booked to matter on this television at all. Okada and Takeshita were not booked to matter at all in this company until, like, I don't know, last month, when they finally got a chance to showcase their personalities, when Okada finally got to cut promos, when this week Takeshita finally got to have that superstar entrance of being the last guy in, and all the attention being put on him, and you're just like,
Finally.
And after
like,
he
finally.
became the IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, like
They
after
did
he
that.
won the G1.
Right. He won,
Remember
yeah.
how Don Callis had like a party for Okada. He had a party for Fletcher. I don't think they had a party for Takeshita to make a storyline, because that would be
No.
too smart. That'd be too
Of
smart.
course.
No, they didn't have a party for him because they're just like, okay, we gotta move it. We gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
And like, a lot of this booking feels like, okay, we gotta keep moving. And like, where a guy like Hangman Page won the world title. He made Moxley quit at All In he made him tap out. Okay, and then last month, like what, a week ago, Moxley tapped out in the main event. Why is Moxley in the main event again? I feel like there's reasons for some things to happen, whether because people like have these, they have these things in their contracts where they say, hey, no, I get to do this, no, I want to do this, I have to do this,
Right.
and like it just feels a little, for the women it's reductive because now they're still just a sideshow. They're not the main event. They're not the main attraction, even though like Chris and Mercedes always like get these high quarter hours, and they've put in the positions where they shouldn't get those high quarters, but they end up doing it. Why do they do it? Because the fans want to see them.
Right.
And like, how many times do we have to have MJF come back in a spot and be still like 40 minutes of TV time? How many times are we going to start and stop with the women? Because I guess it's great. It's good. We had 2 women's segments, right? We had the tag team match, and then we had the promo. But like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like there's gonna be real momentum there until we actually see momentum there, until we actually see women matter and become main events. And I know like other people argued with me about what matters. Okay, so I'm gonna explain my point. So I said a little while ago, I said Takeshita is one of the most over guys on the roster, IWGP champion, G1 winner, not a top guy in AEW. He's not. He should be. He's not. And I said he's not there yet. He has the look. He has the charisma. Based on what I've seen in New Japan, when he came to California and he cut the promo in English in the Windy City Riot when he beat Tanahashi, he did a whole promo in English, and the crowd responded to him. And we saw, and then like New Japan makes that VTR of him and his home life with Yuka and that very cute puppy they have.
Yeah.
And Yuka calls him a big baby, and like
Right.
my wife always calls me a baby because I whine too much when I'm sick. And like I felt like, okay, yeah.
I think that's a universal wife thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think that's a universal husband thing.
Yeah, husbands are just big babies that complain.
Men don't get sick good.
No.
They don't. Their brains are like, we are men. We can't be. No, we will not be defeated by a cold.
It's true.
Okay, it's
true.
okay. We love you. We still love you.
Yeah, and I see like when I see Takeshita up there last night, and he stood up to Okada, and what's going on right now is the World Series, right? 2 Japanese men in the forefront, Yamamoto and Otani.
Yes.
Huge stars. Stars. And that's exactly what we have in Okada and Takeshita. What time in American Pro Wrestling have we had this ever? Have we ever had this? Two Asians.
Not on their level.
Not of that caliber, no.
Yeah, 2 immigrant wrestlers, 2 Japanese wrestlers, 2 ESL wrestlers who have this sort of overness with the crowd, who have this cachet with the crowd. Mm-hmm. And when have we had this? This could be a main event, and this could be a main event anywhere. I kind of hope this is the main event for January 4th, but that's a pipe dream. But like when I think about this stuff, like you think about Yamamoto and Otani and like how they're on the same Dodgers team, but obviously Otani's the man, the ace, and he's
of course. He can do it all.
And he little bros Yamamoto, who pitched that no-hitter and had those 4 home runs the other time. And I'm not even gonna think about the last 2 games because I'm gonna cry. But like, shout out to you, Paul. Good on you, Paul Fontaine, for having your team win this win right now. But who knows? I absolutely think like there's something there that we can do, and I'm doing a little bit of wish casting, but who what channel airs Dodgers games? Time Warner Sports. Who owns Time Warner Sports? WBD. If we could get Otani and Yamamoto to corner one of the others, because like there's that picture of Otani with Okada, right?
Yeah.
And so like if we get those,
Okada's a huge
4,
baseball fan. That's the thing.
If we get those
Garrett
4
asked
together,
him that great baseball question a few years back when they interviewed him, and Okada was like, excited that someone asked him a question about something not wrestling related.
That
That's like
seems to be
Garrett again, his magical gifts.
yeah. That seems to be the thing when you talk to somebody about wrestling, not about wrestling, they'll like lighten up. My friend, like he talked to Brian, right, the fabulous Brian Alvarez, and he talked to him about jujitsu because Brian's a black belt in jujitsu. Brian like opened up and just like was so happy and animated, and he took like a mark pic with him, and I was like,
Nice.
oh dude, that's cool. But like, say we're able to get Otani and Yamamoto to corner Okada
I'm gonna help
and
you manifest that because
Takeshita.
There you go.
I need it to
Like,
happen.
Like you could like if they do Revolution in LA again, you gotta do that match there and do it with those.
You have to.
That'd be
Oh
great.
man, have them be like the guy timekeeper and oh man that would, and then like they'll like argue over who should win. That's just me in my head. Like you want the Asian community to like really jump on this. You want to have the Asian community push these A-lister baseball players and your A-list wrestlers. This is the way to do it.
Like you obviously have like that's what they're basically doing with CMLL. Like they're or with the just having the like the Lucha Libre side, like they keep going to like El Paso and going to Texas because they're having these crowds, and so that's like they know that market, and that's where they're going to do these, and even some of the shows in Southern California as well. So like tap into the Asian market as well. Like you said, like you have Okada and Takeshita. You've got Otani, Yamamoto. Like, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
You guys are all under the same corporate umbrella. You can make that happen
Right.
easily.
Like you could exactly. Like you could. I'm sure Tony could make a couple phone calls, and after like post World Series, he could get the two of them to come make an appearance. Like they don't even have to do anything. Like you could just bring them out there and just have them just standing out. Like they don't have to get physical. They don't have to do any of that. Like you could just have them come. Yeah, right. You could have them. You could even have them just corner them. Like one be on with Okada and one be with Takeshita, and just stand outside. Outside the ring and just stand outside the ring and just corner them and towel them off or whatever, give them some water, and like they don't have to do anything physical.
Yeah, pretty much.
Their presence on the screen is enough to yeah,
and it speaks to the audience that you don't really reach out to. And I say this as one of the Asian American fans.
Sure.
A lot of us love this right now because it's great to be seen. It's always good to be seen.
Sure.
It's good to see us on TV. And like when you see these two, like these are generational talents. I know MJF always says that, and I cringe.
No, they legitimately are.
They are.
Yeah, legitimately. Like Okada is on my list of greatest of all time.
Okada's the man.
And like Takeshita is almost there.
Takesha's doing something nobody else is in modern wrestling is doing. Nobody else has 3 contracts and is excelling at all of them. Like he's getting ready. Like he just wrestled in AEW. He has a match this weekend in New Japan, and then he's DDT. Gonna be in DDT in like 2 weeks. Like he's not just like mailing it in. Like he's going out there and he's having these matches where he's just he puts 110% into every single thing that he does. Yeah. Like nobody else is doing what Takeshita is doing right now. Not even Okada is doing that.
Yeah, that story he told like on his documentary where he's like he wrote New Japan when he was 8 years old to let him into the dojo, and like. To go back as an adult and win the G1 and then win the IWGP title, the title in Japan. It's been the title since the late 80s.
And he won it off of one of the most popular wrestlers on top of that. Like
you win it off of Zack Sabre Jr. I got to tell you guys this joke. Not a joke, this little tidbit of Zack Sabre Jr. about why now I'm a fan. So so a couple a month or so or 2 months ago, like Robbie Eagles was doing like a Q&A on my friends Keeping It Strong style, right? And so like I asked the question about like, oh, who is the most whatever Filipino wrestler on it, and he said Zack Sabre Jr., right? And I was like, okay, there's got to be something to this because Robbie is not gonna just bring this up as a joke. So I interviewed wrestlers from Philippines, and they said what happens is Zach takes a lot of trips to the Philippines, and he's been embraced by the Filipino community there.
Oh
Oh, that's
wow.
nice.
And he's embraced as like a teacher and a mentor for a lot of guys because a lot of those
Wow.
guys are sort of self-taught. So
Yep.
when he went over there and he spends time with you and he talks to you and he'll watch your match and he'll tell you like what you need to fix. I think he set guys up like
Great.
with trips to Japan and getting like those
That's
Wow.
excursions. And so they gave him a nickname. So his name is Zack Sabre Jr. So Filipinos, we always give nicknames to like to people who are a junior. So his nickname is Junjun, and and I think like that. Okay, and I know that little bit. If I didn't know that, then like I wouldn't be feeling this way about Zack Sabre. But like to any wrestler that gives back, especially in a community like the Philippines, or it's third world. It's not really that the resources we have there aren't what they have in Japan, aren't what they have in UK, aren't
Sure.
what they have in the US. But for him to take time out and to teach these guys the craft of pro wrestling, to take
Right.
them time out, that's great.
Hmm.
But again, like to see yourself sort of on TV with
Right.
Takeshita Okada, to see yourself on TV with the women, because I know a lot of women, like even my wife, she's not a fan, but when the women show up, she's like, "Shut up! I'm watching this right now." Right?
Awesome.
She's like, and like she's
Fantastic.
always like, I like the wrestlers who wear the sparkly, cute costumes. I like the Japanese women because they wear
Oh,
sparkly,
yeah.
cute
Yeah.
costumes as opposed to them being
Always
all
so
sexy all
cute.
the time.
Their presentation's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just great. I love it. I love Saya Kamatani right now. She's
Hmm.
so great. I've been watching her on TV, like because we get NHK here, right? And
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
and like sometimes they have like the variety shows, and I saw her pop up on some things, and I was like, oh,
It's awesome.
wow. So that means she must be big, and that's probably why they put her on Wrestle Kingdom this next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They announced
Yeah.
her. They didn't announce her opponent. They didn't announce a match. They said she will be there, and they're
Right.
selling tickets.
I was
off the
gonna
back of
say, and look what happened when they announced her. They sold
Like,
tickets.
what?
A woman is selling tickets.
It's almost like if you
imagine.
announce it in advance and build the match, you might be able to sell tickets for it regardless.
Yeah.
Oh my
Weird.
goodness!
What
oh
a
my
concept.
goodness! Wow.
What a concept.
This timeline's getting crazy now.
Yeah. Imagine selling wrestling beforehand as opposed to making your card like 3 days before and then making sure shows up on the pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Oh, who does that?
Yeah. Who does that?
Who even thinks of like having your full card like 2 weeks out or a week out? No,
Right.
we gotta have the card out like on Collision. Oh, oops! I mean,
Right.
on whatever show comes out before the pay-per-view. Up, slip
Yeah.
of the tongue. Was it a slip of the tongue, or am I being serious? Well,
Maybe a little bit of both.
yeah, like I know it seemed like I'm being harsh on AEW. I'm really not. It's a feeling of like there's all these easy things they can do to not hurt themselves, to build themselves up, to give the people on the roster a deeper meaning, like because I talk a lot about like white men, white cis het men,
Right.
and being ahead of the game and all that, but like Adam Page, who this title run, man, he doesn't. It doesn't feel like he's the guy for me. He should be. He's the best wrestler in the company, but it doesn't feel like they're presenting him as the main character. It still feels like it's Moxley, which is sort of like a little bit of a bummer. But like that's a guy who should be front and center of everything, and I really like that dude. I really like him, and obviously I know like I'm in so many other discords, and I know so many of the women love him, and I know that our own Mel over here was Hang Mel Page for Halloween,
I was indeed.
and like
He's the champion we need right now.
yeah,
Definitely.
he is. And like I loved when he did that promo and CMLL did it full Spanish.
Yeah.
And
Fantastic.
that man speaks Spanish. He speaks some form. He speaks Spanish at least a little bit because you cannot be that perfect with that pronunciation if you don't speak some sort of Spanish. And I know he had to
Right.
because he talked about his farm workers all were Spanish speaking.
Right.
But like to have someone like that who goes on and says "fuck ice," says "hey,
Yeah.
let your voice be
Yeah.
heard," and like he goes out like you guys were saying earlier. He goes out of his way to say men's world title and women's world title. with a purpose. There's a reason he says that, because
Right.
they are not, one's not the world title and one's not just the women's title. They are both
Right.
the world title of this company.
Mhm.
And I think that what we have here in AEW is sort of like they finished the stories at All In and really haven't figured out where to go afterwards. They finished a lot of stories over the summer, and then now they're just like sort of like in a holding pattern. And it just feels like a waste, because there was this time post SummerSlam where everybody was clowning on WWE, right? Everybody was making
Right.
fun of them. And they
Yeah.
said AEW was put on the show of the year with All In and All Out. And then it's just like there's been no like follow up. And I think a lot of people have said like the problem with AEW is the lack of follow up, and it's in a lot of things, and especially with the women and the lack of follow up on the blood and guts and all those matches. And it just, you know, I'm not mad, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. That's the last thing you want to hear from your fans is it
Right.
doesn't make me mad, it just makes me disappointed, because it makes it hard as a fan to stay engaged and to want to like put yourself and say, oh, the women are going to be finally seen as on par, but it's so hard, and they're great. The women are all over. When you hear those pops when Willow comes out, it's like,
Right.
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
like Tony, it's just, it's crazy. And I'm loving having this conversation with you guys, because I feel like these conversations are happening in places, but they're not really happening, because I don't really hear people talking about it in this way of like it's a failure on the women's division for them to not get a main event, for them not to have the blood and guts to themselves, because it shows them as others, as okay, and then here's the rest of the show. They're the rest of the
Right.
show. They're not the show. And there's issues with that. And that the big issue is a lot of your fans want them to be that,
Right.
and to not deliver on that, something that you can easily do because you have a pencil, you can erase everything. It's
Right.
it's just mind-boggling. But it's not my money. I'm not a billionaire yet. You're not billionaires yet. I want that for you.
Thank you.
But
I believe we would do some good with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard. It's
yeah.
hard to make that kind of money without losing your soul. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
may not be in
Yeah.
the cards for me, but
Maybe we find a genie and
There we go.
yeah. But yeah, this sort of stuff, it's important to talk about these women's issues, and like being seen and sort of being disregarded as a voice in the scene, because women are important. There are more women on Earth than there are men on Earth. And I'm a wife guy. I love my wife. She runs my world. She runs everything. I appreciate her for that, because we, as a wife guy, I always realized the one thing that you should do in life, happy wife, happy life, listening to women, not just like putting them outside your mind, but actually actively listening and paying attention and giving them the respect, that goes a long way. And I'm not just talking about like, I'm not being a weird, sick, like, okay, be a nice guy and you'll have a girlfriend. No, I'm saying in general, be nice to people. But if you wanted to get from women, you wanted to have this conversation and be able to be truthful and to be able to just have that sort of like two-way expression and two-way conversation, it's express and letting them talk and not cutting them off and letting people make their points, because it's important to be heard. And I know as a person of color, so many times when I was at work in my professional life, I was cut off and all my opinions were just thrown away because, oh no, he's only this level. We got to talk to this guy because he's this, that, and this.
yeah.
And it's the same sort of like thing with in the podcasting world. I'm not sure what Jen Peppermint is doing anymore, but there was that thing when she first got brought in, and like the stories were so good, and like now it's just like, what happened? It's
I don't know. That is a good question. That's a question that should be asked. So what's going on with, is she strictly doing Mercedes' stories and nothing else? And who is writing the rest of these women's stories? Because it feels almost like two different things. Like Mercedes has her path and the great storytelling that she's doing, and then it feels like there's somebody else writing for the rest of the women's division who are like you said, it's a start and stop. Like we get them all this momentum, and then it just stops. And
Yeah.
for what?
You gotta cool them off because I
You
don't
can't
know.
have the women outdrawing the men.
You can't have that. I mean, popular women. Okay. So my friend used to be a bouncer, right? And then you say, with the women come the men. So if the
Right.
women demo grows because they're watching a lot more of the women's matches because they're invested in these women, the male fans are gonna follow them because their spouses or significant others
Mhm.
are watching this and like having them watch it and get into this. And like
Right.
that's how I got into Korean drama. Like at the top, like I said this in the other thing we recorded. Like that's why I watched the Gilmore Girls is because my
Gilmore
wife
Girls.
had me watch the Gilmore Girls, and then I absolutely, I fell in love with Lorelai and Rory.
I
This
did
is
the
what
same thing to
happens.
Bob, incidentally. I did the same thing to my husband. I was like, take me seriously on this one. And he was like, okay, I have to admit, that was
It's
excellent.
it's so good. It's so
And it makes
even
him look so smart. Like, other ladies love that he can actually answer, like, he knows about it and can answer Gilmore Girls trivia. So
oh man, when we went on the
it
Disney,
makes you very popular as well.
yeah,
You're like, oh
when
my gosh, that dude is he lets himself feel.
yeah, when we went on the Disney cruise, like for like a couple years back, right? We did like trivia, and then like there happened to be Friends and Gilmore Girls questions on the trivia, and like I got them right, and like my wife was so happy. I was like,
That's
we
great.
won like a magnet or something, but like it's pretty fun. Yes, okay, yes, world. I'm a Disney adult. I know my friends kind of roast me for it,
You're
but like
fine.
if
Hey,
you're in
Like,
Southern
it makes you
California,
happy.
if you have a Disney pass, that's kind of
Right.
just like having a driver's license over here.
Of course.
So
Right. Right.
like
Yeah.
some people don't get it, but it's just what you
I,
do.
my grandparents used to go to they used to, because my grandmother decided that she didn't want to be like the old, because we're from Maine, snowbirds from Florida. She didn't want to go to Florida where all the old people was, so she went to Southern California instead, because I was like, nope, don't even worry about it. But we actually visited because she was in Oceanside, so
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oceanside is
So
beautiful.
I've been I mean, my company used to be based out of the Bay Area, so I know a lot of
Oh,
Garrett's neck of the woods, but I do have a minor. My sister also went to the Gemological Institute in San Diego, so she's a
awesome.
graduate gemologist.
Oh, that's so
Gotta brag
cool.
about her.
Yeah, I love geodes, and
She is.
I love precious stones. I mean, so does my wife. My wife obviously loves precious stones too. Yeah, but there's I love having this sort of dialogue with you guys. It just a lot of times we don't have this dialogue where we're just talking to each other like we're people, like we're
Right.
equals, like we're on the same level, and I think like showcasing that is important. Like we're all people in the end, as my friend Mel said, like in our Christmas wishes that we recorded earlier. We're all people. We should all just like try to find that center where we could all come together and agree. And I don't like the Lions. I'm a Niners kid, so
You're good. You're good.
yeah. But like I just gotta say, like, when it comes to this pro wrestling and it comes to all of this other things, I've loved this conversation so much. You guys are so phenomenal at what you do, and you guys make me feel so welcomed, and like I just feel so heartened and so honored to like have had this conversation with you guys, because this is amazing. This is, I gotta tell you, it's amazing, because I want to say this because I want to get this on here. I know my listeners know that a lot of these shows come out like weeks or months or way long ago. I recorded these way long ago, but no, you're gonna hear this week. It's gonna come out on Friday, and like
Well,
we're
thank
gonna you're
you.
gonna have this like
Glad we could
because
be there.
it's important to have people hear these conversations about what's going on, because
Right.
I just you know why are we not having these conversations? Why are people not asking these questions? And if we could, like, because I'm sure you guys are gonna have this conversation again on your own show,
Right.
and like to have so many, and that's why I love doing these collaborations, having these guest people do these interviews with me, because you get to spread the message to all these different like audiences.
Right.
And I'm not even sure like if your audience would have been my audience, but I'm hoping like there's a lot more sharing because
Yeah.
There will be.
the world of wrestling is so small, and the
Yeah.
wrestling fandom is so small, so big at the same time.
Right. It
That
is.
I feel like we all should come together and like, to quote Mark Briscoe, like conglomerate. It's like
to
it's so fun
conglomerate
to do this.
and bully Tony Khan into booking the women better.
Yeah, we gotta bully him into booking the women better, give him the main event, and we also gotta bully him into booking Yamamoto and Otani.
There we
We
go.
gotta do
Yes,
that.
right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
that's
Sometimes
what you gotta
bullying is
do.
good, kids.
And that is not the
I mean,
that is
if
not the
it's
message.
the last measure that you can take to get
Yeah.
somebody to do the right thing, then that's where you have to go. The last,
Yeah.
I mean, violence is the voice of the unheard, right? So
Yeah,
Sure.
sometimes
You
you
know.
gotta just stand up to it for yourself.
just saying.
Right.
Yeah. And I ask these questions because I love these questions, but I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions.
Okay.
It's about to be Thanksgiving, and it's about to be Halloween on Friday. It's Halloween today. This coming on Halloween. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. First, are you regular size or fun size people?
Regular size.
Yeah, regular.
Okay. And what is your candy of choice?
Candy. Well, for Halloween, I love candy corn. I have already
Wow.
been through.
Oh,
I
What a
love
take.
chocolate is pretty much always the answer. But at Halloween, I have already been through 3 bags and 1 big container of candy corn since September for early
you and
September.
my friend.
Wow.
I love it. I like to get the autumn mix that has the pumpkins in it too, and then it has the ones that have the chocolate at the bottom, well, the brown at the bottom, but yeah, the chocolate at the bottom. I love candy corn. I'm a huge I'm out, and I've been out
Controversial
for 2 days.
take
I'm
there.
I've been out for 2 days, and I was like, well, candy corn will be on clearance in 2 days.
It's already on clearance here. If I had known
Yeah, I
that.
was like, I can probably go stock up this weekend.
You should get to it.
You should.
But
You
I'm a
should.
huge chocolate. I love chocolate and things like that. But yeah, I'm a huge I love candy corn. I think it's
See, now
I love it.
I am on the other side of that, but I also have a good friend who's like you, so I know that you people are out there, and my sister's like that too. I know you wander the earth
We
eating
do.
your strange corn candies, but I myself prefer something along that. I mean, I like taking the caramel Twix bars and freezing them and
Ooh.
eating them like that. That is
Yum.
in Halloween because I'm not a big candy person most of the year. I largely don't sugar myself up
love
too
candy.
much. We'll see what you like. I make up in coffee what you lack in coffee.
Right,
I make up
exactly.
for
Yeah, I'm not a
that,
coffee drinker,
so
but I will eat candy.
exactly. My vices are slightly different. That's where I get my sugar from French fries. That's that kind of thing.
French fries are always good, and
Yeah.
That's kind of
yeah, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love herbal teas and things like that. And hot chocolate and apple cider. I'm a huge. We did that last year we did a very scientific poll on Twitter last year or the year before. It was last year to find out if people were team apple cider or team pumpkin spice. And actually, of course, super scientific and so many people such a large pool of people, but it ended up being, I think we ended up being more team apple cider.
I believe that was true. I believe that our super scientific Twitter Powerbombshells totally vetted by Grok or not. No, I don't even think Grok
existed.
I don't think it existed yet.
That was a pre-Grok time.
Thank goodness, because
yeah,
we might have got fact-checked by a weirdly programmed robot that learns from the interwebs.
Oh gosh, I gotta hate that. I am more of a Reese's Pieces guy for my candy.
Oh yeah, I get that
too.
Totally.
I love those peanut butter cups.
Yes.
My wife bought a whole bag of from Costco, the half Oreo one, half regular one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem. I gotta stop myself. It's like
me.
I can't eat too much, but it's what I can do.
It's very hard not to. Yeah, I love Reese's cups too.
Yeah.
They are good.
Yeah.
That those are a universal favorite, and I know that if I brought those home, that Bob would be through them before I saw them go out again.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where my husband would end up.
My wife one time she bought like those Reese's animal cookies,
Uh-huh.
and like I
Oh,
was eating those for like 3 months straight, and like the bag would never end, and like my wife
it's the
told me, hey,
Costco bag.
you're not allowed to get anything else or eat anything else besides this bag. So I was trying to eat it like every day so I could get rid of it. It took me like 5 months to finish the whole bag.
I this I can relate to this because we had a similar situation with Costco animal crackers back in the
Oh,
day, and
yeah.
we don't like to waste things in our house. So we
Right.
also, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I've taken a very long hiatus from Swedish fish and animal crackers for such reasons.
That's great.
Just leave it there.
Yeah, and like we're close to Thanksgiving time, and our Canadian friends. Shout out to you, Paul. Shout out to you, Preet. Shout out to my friend out there, my friend MJ. Like we have, they just had Canadian Thanksgiving,
Hmm.
and
Josiah.
in a couple of weeks we have American Thanksgiving. And I don't like the history of the holiday, but I do love the food. So like, if you guys are had to have like your Thanksgiving plate, what do we got?
I am not a turkey eater. I don't care for it, so we don't do
Yeah.
turkey. We do ham.
Nice.
Okay, that's
we
great.
do we do like a spiral ham or like the little smaller hams. Yeah, we don't we all realize like we don't really like turkey and we don't want to eat on it for 4 days. Like
Makes
we'll
sense.
eat it like if it's there, like we would get it there on the plate and that one time would be it. We'd be good for another year. Like but we do ham. I'm also super into carbs, so like macaroni and cheese is
Yeah.
definitely on my plate. The last couple of years, I found this recipe for garlic parmesan corn
Ooh.
that I love, and so I've made that like the last three Thanksgivings. It's really really good. And it's super easy because the kitchen is not my forte. So I love anything that's super easy, which that is. And then sometimes we do like the apple dumplings like that they do at Cracker Barrel, where
Yeah.
you just put them. So we put apples in a crock pot, like apple slices in a crock pot with like cinnamon and brown sugar, and just let it cook for a bit. That we've done that the last two or three Thanksgivings, I want to say. And then also on my plate is a, as always dinner rolls, usually Hawaiian rolls.
Okay. I love Hawaiian rolls. You know what we should do one time? If you have the Hawaiian rolls, because this is what us
Uh-huh.
Filipinos do, we take some ice cream, put it in the
Uh-huh.
roll, and then that's how we get our ice. That's our tool for eating ice cream is the Hawaiian roll.
That sounds delicious.
Wow, that sounds really good. And
That
now I
would
might have to
totally
try
work.
that.
I get that. That
Yeah,
makes total sense.
the Hawaiian
That is
roll is the
awesome.
vehicle for the ice cream, whether that be mango, vanilla. I love,
Yeah.
the Tillamook
Oh,
strawberry ice cream is sort of my weakness. Or moose
Ooh.
tracks. I love moose tracks.
Yep.
You
yeah,
get it
moose
in
tracks
there
are good.
because the sweet Hawaiian roll, it's good.
That's
How about
Yeah.
you, Mel? What's your plate looking like?
Now, see, I am a turkey fan. I do like it. We do get we try to get free range turkeys and stuff if we can. We try to source them locally because we do have farming here in Michigan. And we also, years ago, picked up an infrared turkey fryer or just an infrared meat fryer. So we do ours in that. And it's oil free. So all the drippings kind of boil out. And it just makes a great thing. And we do like it. And I'm one of the people that just uses everything. I make turkey broth that I freeze. I
Yeah,
mean, everything gets
Right.
used here.
I also
Bob
love the
makes an
giblets.
incredible from scratch, ground up stuffing and I've
Mm.
never been a stuffing fan until he came along and started making this. But I mean, it's pretty classic stuff. I do actually make we have turnip, and it used to just be sort of straight turnip, and nobody
Ooh,
I knew liked it. So I found this great recipe similar to Sam for what is called a turnip puff. And you just add some egg and you can do it gluten free with I use rice checks
Mhm.
smushed up or whatever instead of
that's
breadcrumbs
beautiful.
or whatnot, but it's similar and it does actually give it a fun flavor. But I mean, lots of gourds because I'm from the Northeast, so all that stuff that we anything that you carve or boil.
Yeah.
Those are always on there. But pumpkin pie was the thing that my mom would, because we used to do the family Thanksgiving with my dad's side. And my mom always made pumpkin pie. That was her contribution. We would bring a jug of apple cider from Maine, and my mom would make 2 pumpkin pies. And so
That's
my sister and
wonderful.
I yearly make this pumpkin pie because was our mom's pumpkin pie. She brought the pumpkin pie, and now the two of us in our separate parts of our lives do the pumpkin pie and have very popular. People enjoy it. They like it a lot. We do it with pure pumpkin and do our own spicing and so forth. So that's kind of a thing. And then in times like Sam's, we used to have what we called Italian Thanksgiving. And so on
I've been to an
occasion,
Italian Christmas, so I'm sure it's.
and on occasion, when we would not feel like the turkey, we would do double lasagna.
Ooh.
I had that.
Grandpa would, and
at the
that's what
Italian
Grandpa
Christmas.
cooked.
I used to
and-
have a Italian relative, and we would have we would
Whoa.
have pastas, and they would do like fish and stuff.
Fortunately, I learned the family gravy recipe so I can make the red sauce properly, and I've been
There you go.
told I get it the closest,
Nice.
but I do miss that. I do miss him a great deal.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, as you were talking, I was like, oh wait, I forgot the dessert that would be on my plate. My go-to dessert every Thanksgiving is actually apple pie.
Nice.
I also make an apple pie in honor
Apple
of my
pie
Uncle Bob.
with vanilla ice cream is like as much as I'm a chocolate fan, like apple pie with vanilla ice cream is like a top tier dessert for me.
My Uncle Bob used to make the apple pie. That was his job, and he would make a handmade one from scratch.
Yum.
And
Oh
when
my
we
God.
lost, unfortunately, when we lost him, I started making an apple pie on Thanksgiving as a commemorative thing.
Awesome.
So I also do that, and I really got into it. And actually, his son and I speak, because my cousin, I talk to him a lot, and he's like, "Well, I could just give you the." He used to teach me how to make it, which was a great thing to learn. That it actually had.
That's
But I said,
wonderful.
I do that, and my sister actually had it and said, "Okay, this is as close since Uncle Bobby that I can remember." And
Oh wow,
so
that's awesome.
You
I
have
just-
the
I lucked out.
ratatouille
I
moment,
love
huh?
cooking. Cooking is something that that's a piece of community thing for me. For a
Yeah.
long time, a lot of the kids and people that I took care of, one of the things that I did was I was the person that cooked the meals, and it brings me a great deal of joy to cook for people. We had a restaurant for a period of time, so it's
Absolutely.
another community thing that, I mean, we all love to eat, and sitting around a table with your friends and family when you're
Yep.
is really when you do it right, it's the best time ever.
Mhm.
That's absolutely beautiful. I mean, keeping your family alive through food, because, well, we do cook turkey here. What my wife did is she learned my grandma's recipe for, we call it arroz caldo. That's basically chicken rice porridge, and my wife learned that. My wife learned how to make cassava cake, and from my grandma. She learned how to make this dish we call suman, that's sticky rice, from my grandma. And every time she makes like these desserts, like because my mom always requested from her to make the Elvis peanut butter banana pie, right? And so like that was something that my mom and my grandma loved to request for my wife to make. And so whenever like I eat any of those desserts, like it makes me cry because I think of my grandma and my mom.
Sure.
But like I love that my wife learned that for me, and then like for Thanksgiving now I spend it with my wife's family. So like she's Chinese, so we do a lot of like her cousins do like a roast beef. They do a turkey from Sprouts. They buy the turkey so that but then the turkey, when we ever take home the turkey, we make a roast caldo with it. So we put it like in our porridge. Her cousin also like makes a really good pozole. And I just love talking about these things with you because you having those memories of Thanksgiving with your families and all these people getting together, and I can just feel the love coming from you, and it's so great. And I gotta tell you guys again, this is such a big honor for me to have you on here and to have you guys let me into your worlds a little bit and tell me about your history. I love it. I'm a sentimental guy, and I love that Mel learned her grandpa's gravy.
Oh yeah.
That makes me feel so awesome, and I want to give this space for you guys to plug your show before I ask my last question.
Do you want to do it, Mel?
about it. Okay, so we are at Power Bombshells on Twitter, on Blue Sky, pretty much on the socials at
Instagram.
Power Bombshells. Instagram, we're trying to post on some of the more sane places, but it's social media, so and you can kind of find links to me there as well. But most of our stuff is at Power Bombshells, but Sam writes, so
Yes.
Sam.
Well, and you can also you can find Power Bombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pike Game Media YouTube network, unless it's a Saturday AEW pay-per-view. Then we do our Garrett's favorite, our pre show that we do before to get you. We go through the match card of the pay-per-view and we give our predictions and try to get you hyped for the pay-per-view. So sometimes these cards, some people are like, I'm not really into it, and then by the end of it, they're like, now I'm hyped for this card. And so that's where you can find us. And then you can find me on both Twitter and Blue Sky at on Twitter. It's Samantha_173. It's the same thing on Blue Sky, just without the underscore. And then you can find my writing is there. I have a link tree in the bio of both of them, and it has that way you can go directly to my writing for both Daily DDT and Wrestling Inc. And so all of my stuff, it's easier to find it that way just by going to the link tree in my bio.
Yeah. Please click on that link tree in the episode description. Please watch them live. They are two beautiful women. You are not going to. I'm not trying to be gross here. I mean, they're two beautiful souls, but they're also, on the alley. They're two beautiful women. So you got a couple eye candy for you guys to watch while you're watching them give these great dissertations on pro wrestling. They are probably one of my many favorite podcasts that I listen to, because I listen to too many, and still,
We're glad that we made the list.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You made the good list, okay, not the bad list. Because sometimes I listen to things that
we were happy about that.
That's
yeah,
good.
there's some podcasts that I listen to just so I can say, oh, so how can I make this argument sound so stupid that when I'm feeling petty, but that doesn't happen so much.
Hey, we're all human. We all gotta scratch that itch occasionally.
Exactly.
We all do
Yeah.
it. We just
So-
at least you own it.
Yeah. And I love to close out on positivity because I believe in the power of positivity. And the question I have at the end always shows me what your character is. So for both of you, if a rainbow appeared out of the sky, one with a message from Samantha, one with a message from Mel, what do you guys want your rainbow to say?
Wow, what a profound question.
Just be excellent to each other.
Okay. What about you, Sam?
I think mine would just say, I don't even know. Yeah, that's a really good one too. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to copy Mel, but it's you're gonna get through this. You're gonna have better days are coming, and if things are going well now, then may you continue to have more good days than bad.
Absolutely lovely words from some lovely women. And again, to the men out there who just disregard all those women in your life, in your Discord, in your Reddit, in your social life, just listen. Just, for once in your life, just listen. Let you don't have to know everything. You don't have to open your mouth and say everything and get the last word in. I'm not, even though I'm doing that right now. This is not, but it's listen to all women, and please give women a chance. We used to say 10 years, not even 10. We used to say 13 years ago, give divas a chance, right? And honestly, give women a chance. They can always be the same stars, because who are the biggest stars on TV right now and on music? It's women,
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta pay homage. We all, most of us love our moms and our grandmas and our sisters and our cousins and our wives and our girlfriends and whatever. So, just realize whenever you're talking down to women, you're talking down to your grandma, you're talking down to your mom, you're talking down to all these people, and you're disregarding more than half of our population. So, smarten up. You don't have to be an asshole. Thank you guys for coming on here. I appreciate this. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. This has
Thank
been
you
great.
very much. This is great. We're glad that you're listening. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Yeah.